Hey guys, this week's episode, we are talking all about the nervous system. I've been doing a ton of research in preparation for this, and I'm so excited for just everything we're going to talk about. I feel like it's been something in my personal life that I've been really gaining from, and obviously I'm going to share that with you because we're here to live our best, most abundant lives. And this is part of it because the nervous system connects your brain to the rest of your body. So we need to best facilitate that and care for it as we can. So, anyways, excited to jump in with this with you. And I hope that you just have so much fun doing whatever you're doing right now, cleaning the house, driving the car, whatever it is. I hope you enjoy. So today we are drinking a matcha, and it's from a coffee shop called Summer Moon. All of my Texas people, this is where it's at. And if you are ever visiting Texas, I highly suggest checking out Summer Moon. It's kind of amazing. And I heard they're opening up in Oklahoma too, so that's fun. But anyways, life updates. Gosh, I don't even really know. I went and got a lash lift this morning. I was at Summer Moon working on the book that is getting released in literally like the countdown is on just a few months. And I actually want to like cry. It's so freaking crazy. I'm just so excited. So anyways, just lots of really fun things like that. Lots of travel coming up too, which is my favorite. I love to be on the go as much as possible. So Matt and I will be exploring the Mediterranean area here soon. So like Greece, Croatia, Montenegro, Italy. We'll be back in Italy. I'm so excited to go back. It's one of my favorites, especially Venice. I think Venice is probably my favorite in Italy. And we get to go back. Yay. So anyways, also like lots of work trips and just all the fun things. So it's good. Life is good right now. If not a little bit stressful and chaotic. Yesterday did have like a full-blown meltdown, but it's fine. You know what I mean? It's fine. We just recover and we keep going. So I realized, I don't know if I've talked about this, but I got a new car. I had my Elantra since I bought it when I was 16 years old. And wow, I love that car so much. It had been on so many road trips with me, and it was finally time to get a new car. And it was bittersweet. It was really sad to see it go, but I'm obsessed with my new car. It's an SUV this time. And everyone's kind of confused why I got an SUV because, I mean, there really was no need. Like, we don't have kids and all that. But in my head, I'm going to go car camping, like, rather soon. I'm going to go to the Grand Canyon and I'm going to go car camping. And I'm very excited about it. I really am. But it hasn't happened yet. I've only had the car for like a couple of weeks, but I'm going to go car camping. I'm going to get one of those mattresses that go in there. I've been real camping. And I'm going to tell you, it was traumatizing because we fell asleep. It was Matt and I, and then our dog Tank is a ripe 10 pounds. Okay. And we had a lovely day. We had a fire. I was in a hammock. I was reading all day. We had like made our food. It was lovely. And then it got dark. And something shifted in the atmosphere, and it just became kind of like survival mode for me. And Matt can fall asleep anywhere, anytime, and he's like dead to the world. So he fell asleep fairly soon after, I don't know, we decided to go to bed, and it was like 9 o'clock. And I'm sitting there like kind of freaking out a little bit. I'm like reading my book on my Kindle, and it's like a rom-com because I'm trying to like calm myself down. And the next thing I freaking know, I kid you not, I'm in a tent. A nose, I don't know what animal, is poking into the tent. And it was large, okay? Matt said it was probably raccoons. I was definitely feeling more like coyote vibes. And then there's scratching on the tent. Like you just hear, I hope you can hear that. And Tank looks at me like I'm supposed to protect him, and I'm looking at him like, dude, you're the dog. You figure this out. And it was just really a lot. It was a lot. So I shoved Matt awake, and I was like, bro, get up and go out there. And this man had the audacity to say, Belle, just go to sleep. It's fine. They're not going to get you. I'm sorry. Are we in the same tent? Like, are you hearing the noises I'm hearing? So he refused to go out there. While I kept pestering him, he got mad at me. He goes out there, scares away what other animals were trying to attack me. And long story short, neither of us got a lot of sleep. He was very upset. I was very upset. I feel like I had more right to be upset. I'm not going to lie to you, just because of the fact that there was no like sympathy for me in that moment. So anyways, I will not go tent camping anymore. I've determined I'm really not meant to be in a tent. However, I love the atmosphere of camping because it is cute. Like I said, I had a lovely time, like with the fire and with like roasting marshmallows and like all of that and reading my book out in nature, and we went on a hike, like lovely. However, the nighttime I just can't do. And so I have decided my car would be perfect, but sleeping in the Elantra wasn't an option. So we're going to sleep in, I'm going to get one of those like mattresses that you can slide into the trunk, and it's just going to be nice. I'm not going to go full like van life, but that's the vision of why I got my SUV, because I just really felt myself embracing that life. I really do. So I'm excited. And also it's just like, it's so pretty. It's matte and it's brown. Okay. So like the matte texture, so it's not glossy. And it's like an awesome, like bronzy brown color. I've been trying to think of a name for it. So if you have an idea, DM me. But anyways, I saw this one person, they were like, call it cafe or like latte. And I was like, okay, we definitely need to do something with the coffee world, leaning towards either like macchiato, but is that too long? I don't know. And like cold brew, I don't know. Cappuccino is kind of cute, but I don't know. Anyways, I am obsessed with it. And I think it needs to be something along the coffee lines. But that is not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about today the nervous system. So as you guys know, I like get into these grooves of really trying to learn about specific things, and I will go down these deep rabbit holes of what exactly something is, how to live our best lives with it, all of that. And lately it's been the nervous system. I heard another podcast lately talk about it, and they're like, nervous system is about to be the new like trend, like the new it thing. Like for a while everyone was worried about like cortisol levels, and then there was a time where like before that where everyone was worried about blue light. And then it's like sauna, hot, cold therapy, all of that. Like, there's trends in the wellness world. And if there's going to be trends, I'll be honest, I love that the trends are coming from the wellness world, because it's coming from a place of trying to make us better. I know some people get annoyed with it a little bit, but I do think out of all the trends that we could work with, all of the crazy things out there in the world, at least it's something in the name of trying to make ourselves healthier and better, right? I don't have a problem with it personally. But I also am the type of person that loves when people set New Year's goals, and I don't get annoyed with New Year's at all. It's actually my favorite holiday. So anyways, let's talk about the nervous system. Okay. So first of all, I want to give a little rundown of what the nervous system is, because I think it might feel a little ambiguous, just because there's a lot of things connected to the nervous system. And I think a lot of people associate it with like anxiety. And I don't know if that's from the name of like nervous system or because it actually does have to do with like regulating functions in the body. So anxiety is one of the symptoms that comes from a disruptive nervous system. I'm not really sure. But anyways, let me read this. So our nervous system is a complex network of nerves and cells that carry messages to and from the brain and the spinal cord to various parts of the body. Okay. So it is the entire system of nerves, nerve endings, everything connecting your brain. It's what allows you to feel pain. It's what's allowed to like for you to feel sensations, all of that. Okay. And it plays a crucial role in regulating all of our bodily functions. And that includes our response to stress and trauma. Okay. So, fight or flight or freeze, that whole thing, that is like part of the nervous system, is like how we react to moments that are intense and all of that. But we also, it's like the physical side of it, but it's also like the emotional side of it, right? So anyways, because we live in such a crazy fast-paced world, it's really important that we do start to regulate our nervous system. So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about some of the symptoms that come when we have a overactive or disruptive nervous system. And then I want to go into 10 steps on how to kind of reset that, how to kind of get back to ground zero with our nervous system in today's society, because it's not as easy as just going on a hike and then all of a sudden you're cured. And I think sometimes it's kind of preached that way of like, oh, you need to ground yourself and like roll around in some grass outside and you'll be all set with your nervous. Like that's not really necessarily the case. So anyway, some things that happen in the nervous system when it's bad, when things aren't going well. Okay. First of all, increase in stress. I think that's pretty clear because it has so much to do with your response to things happening around you, like trauma. So when you don't have a clear, like healthy nervous system, obviously your chronic stress is just going to go up a lot. And that then has a lot of symptoms in itself, like headaches, muscle tension, and digestion issues. So that's not great. And that's the physical side. But then there's also the emotional side of increased stress, which can definitely be like irritability, mood swings, and brain fog, like difficulty concentrating on the task in front of you because you're so stressed out about what's to come. So that's one side of it. And then the other side, the very common side that we look at is the anxiety, which can just lead to that heightened worry or sense of restlessness when you're going through everyday life. And in extreme cases, for a lot of us, it does lead to panic attacks, which is that like shortness of breath. And that's the manifestation of the physical and emotional coming together and really just it's coming from a place of trying to protect the body, but it's a trauma response happening in the moment led by your nervous system. Okay. Additionally, it can lead to sleep disturbances, whether that is difficulty falling asleep, straight up insomnia, or like wrecking your sleep patterns as far as waking up multiple times a night, or just not feeling like you fully rested in your sleep. So you're really groggy the next day. And that can kind of lead into like the fatigue side of things, where even things like exercising, which should be good for you, can leave you feeling really drained of energy. And it can just feel like very taxing to go through your everyday activities. Okay. That fatigue side of things that can stem from your nervous system being overactive or not reactive at all. Okay. Cognitive decline. So we talked a little bit about like brain fog happening when the stress is too high, but also when your nervous system is constantly firing, telling you that you're either in danger or it's not regulating at all. It can really lead to difficulty with your memory in concentration, or honestly, even like decision making can feel really hard because it can feel very heavy. It can feel like your decision is a traumatic experience. Okay. So what I mean by that is like whatever decision you make, it has so much pressure riding on it that your body is like physically trying to fight off having to make a decision because it feels scary. And then decreased resilience as far as like your ability to cope with things. So like getting like bad news or something like that. If your nervous system is telling you that this is, I mean, it could be something like triggering, but also minor. So like, okay, let's say like you waited all day to go get your matcha and all of a sudden they say they're out. If that hits you so hard and it like starts to like, you can't let it go all day, or like someone says a mean comment to you and you can't let it go, like all of those things, that decreased resilience is a sign of a poor nervous system functioning properly. And that it increased sensitivity to emotional pain, but then also to like physical pain as well. So if you're feeling like your conditions are just more intense or difficult to manage, all of that comes from a poor nervous system. So you can see how the very system in your body that connects your entire body to the brain, of course, the symptoms are going to be very various. And what it really does is it heightens whatever you're experiencing, whether it's physical, emotional, whatever it is, it's going to heighten that to a point of either pain or intolerance, whatever that is. So that's why the nervous system is so important. Okay. And it connects your entire body. Like I feel like I can't stress that enough. Of course it's important. Okay. So let's go through the 10 things that I have been researching that have just really seemed to, I don't know, help. And this is coming from all sorts of professionals. So I did speak to a couple trained licensed therapists about like just the nervous system at all and coping mechanisms with the more emotional side. And then I've done a ton of research from all of the best places that I can find on the more like physical attributes of the nervous system and what that looks like. Okay. So let's just jump in. Okay. So the first thing that therapists recommend with a increased like crazy nervous system or trying to regulate your nervous system, again, this whole thing, these 10 tips are to reset that and then maintain a healthy functioning system. So the first thing was a deep breathing exercise. So these techniques are diaphragmic breathing. So that's where your diaphragm right here below your lungs like breathing in and that deep, deep breath. So what I do for this, and I've started this at the beginning of April to kind of test out and see how I felt like it worked with me personally. I've tried a lot of breathing techniques. I think my favorite one is the box breathing. So box breathing is, I'm currently working on. I did not realize breathing was so hard. I'm going to be so straight with you. I was like, okay, breath work, easy money. I breathe very shallowly. Shallowy, is that a word? Shallowly, that we're going to go with that. Naturally. So my breaths are not deep, like in everyday life. So it is hard for me personally to take full deep breaths. And I was shocked by this. So box breathing is you count inward with your inhale all the way up. The goal is 8. I struggle to hit 6. So steady breathing all the way on your inhale. Hold for like 3 to 6. Your goal is to make a perfect box, right? So your goal is to hit 8, 8, 8, 8, 8 for each of these breathwork steps, the 4 steps. But like I'm sitting around like 4 to 6 for each. So count all the way up to like 6, and then hold for 6, and then exhale for 6, and then hold for 6, and then repeat it. So you're making a box, and your goal is to keep it as square as possible. Okay. Mine more looks like a funky little like rectangle that's all wobbly. Okay. And again, I did not realize that breathing was this hard. I was shocked that I could not function through this as naturally as I thought I would be able to. So box breathing is great. And what that does is that activates your sympathetic. Oh my gosh, I'm so crazy. Why could I not read that word? Parasynthetic nervous system, which will help you relax and bring calmness. And that's honestly something that I remember my therapist talking about for like my anxiety before. So just coming up with some breath work that you really feel like helps you, and then building that exercise. I only do it for like 5 minutes a day. I really am not that dedicated to it, but it's helpful. Next, the thing that the therapists say help out is a mindfulness meditation. And what a mindfulness meditation is that you're supposed to focus on stuff. So like some people, so like Eastern practice meditation, the idea is like clear your brain so that way like energy can flow. And that's not what this is. That's not what meditation is. If you guys remember, I've had Sarah Nicole on the podcast before. She is a yoga and meditation Christian coach, and she talks about the difference between meditations and how to really activate your brain in a way that honors God through meditation. And that's kind of what this is you're going to be focusing for this specific thing because we're trying to reset the nervous system. You're going to be focusing on your breathing, but you're really going to be focusing on like the sensation of all of your body. Like go do like a body map. Okay, this is so interesting. I love to do a body map. And what this is you can like find these on YouTube or whatever, and you'll like sit still and it'll tell you to focus on different points of your body. So it'll be like, feel your feet right now. What are your feet touching? And it like is so soothing. It's so relaxing. Honestly, puts me to sleep all the time. And it will work your way through your body of like allowing you to feel different sensations of just like sitting there, and it helps you regulate within yourself. I love it. I really do. I think it's super fascinating to do. And it's a practice that really has helped me a lot in just starting to build the relationship between mind, body, and spirit and just strengthen that, you know? So the next thing is progressive muscle relaxation. This is fun. Okay. So it's systematically tensing and relaxing different muscle groups in your body. And so first of all, this will help you release the physical tension because it's noticing and just kind of like focusing on a muscle and tensing it. So like if you're watching on YouTube or you're seeing the video, like you can like tense your arm, feel the muscle, and then slowly relax it. And you feel the tension leave it, and then you move to a different muscle, and you just kind of do that over and over until you feel your nervous system start to kind of reset, calm down, and that's really great. Okay. Next, I do love a good stretch. Okay, as crazy as that sounds, and you can kind of habit stack some of these too. I'm sure you've already kind of put that together, but stretching your muscles out helps so much because it really does elongate the feeling of just like extension and then coming back in, all of that. So a good stretch can honestly help your nervous system so much because it's connected to all the parts of your body. So if you fluidly move those body parts and are stretching them out, it helps you to just kind of roll that tension out. Okay, so that's really helpful. Big fan of this one. I will say it till I'm blue in the face. A good nature walk will do wonders for your cortisol levels and your nervous system. Okay. So a nature walk is honestly not that fast paced. You're not running. You're not trying to get your heart rate up. It's more leisurely. And the goal is to be surrounded by nature if possible. So definitely any running water, I find that helps a lot. Any like just greenery if you can, especially now that we're in the spring summer era. This is great. Okay. And what it does is it'll help promote the feelings of just like calmness and peace in you, because I mean, God created all of this stuff. And sadly, for a lot of us that live in cities, we miss out on a lot of creation. And that's where we ultimately are like supposed to be, right? Is in creation. So allowing yourself to kind of go back to that, breathe in some really fresh air and just be in nature. And I do listen to music or audiobook or something, but sometimes I'll combine it with like a prayer walk or something like that. And it's just like so relaxing. It's just a good reset. Okay. Next is definitely to limit your stimulants. Okay. So stimulants include caffeine, alcohol, and nicotine. And what all three of these do is the purpose of them is to overstimulate the nervous system. And there is nothing worse for me than having caffeine on an empty stomach. I am a wreck for hours. A wreck. I cannot focus on anything. I am so stressed out about things. I feel like my heart, I can feel it beating. I will literally start shaking. Caffeine on an empty stomach is the worst to me. And I'm not a big drinker at all in any, like, I will socially sometimes have like a cocktail or something, but when it comes to like the drinking side of it too, like I've heard that is like people get really bad anxiety or it heightens all of their emotions to a super intense state. And it's just not great to be there. I've never really been someone that has done a lot of like the nicotine or like the vape side of it, but definitely, when I was younger a little bit, but it doesn't help. I've never enjoyed that. And so for me, these are easy things for me to kind of push back on. I've switched to decaf and all of that, but I highly encourage you to kind of look at your intake of those things and then limit those, because they're stimulants and it's stimulating your nervous system. You don't necessarily want to be messing with that. The basics then I'm going to go with are the healthy nutrition side of things. So a diet rich in like the whole foods, the lean proteins, and then avoiding the processed foods and excessive sugar, because those are all going to impact your energy levels. Okay, so food is fuel. Food is how we get our energy. And if we are filling our body with fuel that is coming from processed food and sugars and all of that, obviously that energy is going to be a little bit more negative than the energy that could come from whole foods or lean proteins or veggies and all of that, because that energy is going to sustain itself in our body in a lot cleaner of a way. So that's just kind of a basic. Same with the quality of sleep. So a problem with this, a vicious cycle, is that the nervous system impacts your sleep. So how you can help heal your nervous system is getting good sleep, but a symptom of having a poor nervous system is bad sleep. So this is something that I would say is like later in the reset, is really prioritizing around 7 to 9 hours of sleep, depending on you personally. And a couple tips is like creating a sleep schedule that is really, really consistent to follow through. Like you are in bed at the same time every night and your alarm goes off at the same time every night and you're not fluctuating that too much. That'll help a lot, as well as like a relaxing bedtime routine. We talk a lot about PM routines. A couple weeks, well, I guess it's been longer, but right before we took a break, I believe we did an episode on the nighttime routine. So look at that. And then also like your sleep environment. Make sure the room is as chilly as possible, truthfully, just because that'll help your nervous system to kind of unwind and relax. There's nothing worse than trying to sleep hot. And additionally, make sure that it's dark. If you're using light, try to have it be red light, all of that, just really finding a good sleeping environment, and that will help a lot. But again, it's a vicious cycle of your nervous system impacts your sleep. So you kind of have to build up to that, at least for me. Additionally, social connections. Okay. So for your nervous system, for me, like I said, one of the ways that I knew that mine was a little out of whack was every single social connection that I would have, whether it was a community event or like a one-on-one group, I would literally overanalyze so freaking bad. And like I would say one thing and I was like, well, that person definitely hates me. And that's also a sign of anxiety. I'm aware of it. I know that, but I feel like a lot of us do this where it's so intense afterwards and you're just like overthinking that one moment over and over and over again. And that was something that I had to really realize, like, okay, wow, this is like an actual like bodily thing happening right now where my body is like fearful for me. This is crazy. Like it was like a traumatic response that I was scared. I like misspoke. And so like, it's like a whole cycle, guys. But anyways, all that being said, spending time with people and engaging in like positive interactions over and over and building that endurance up with other people can really help with that. And then speaking out your insecurities to someone that you trust. So like for me, I'm very grateful because I have such a supportive partner in Matt. But you know, for a while that was either like my mom or my college roommate or something. And you leave a social interaction and you're replaying a moment over and over in your head, saying it to someone being like, okay, I said this, that was like, I felt stupid in the moment. And more often than not, they're like, oh my gosh, literally no one cares. And just kind of releasing it from what your thought process was building on is so helpful. So helpful. So try to say it out loud, even if it's to yourself, say it out loud and be like, okay, I'm overanalyzing this moment because I felt stupid saying this. And either A, learn from it. Like if you overshared in an instance, or if you maybe spent too long gossiping about someone, like learn from it for sure, but then also like release it. You're okay. Lastly, all of these tips came from all of the professionals in like that I've met in my life or research from. And so if you're really struggling with like the nervous systems, all of that, it is really helpful to start, at least in my opinion, with a counselor or a therapist or some sort of like therapeutic intervention. And then they'll provide you with like the tools that you need, like the breathwork exercises and resources and all of that for like the stress management and the emotional well-being side of it. And then as you get better at that, hopefully it adds to the body of being able to kind of like reset. But if not, then you can work with them to find a more either Western medicine or like holistic doctor to look at like the medical side of it. But because it's connected to your brain, a lot of it can be fixed, or not, I don't want to say fixed because it's not really broken, but a lot of it can be reset or regulated through these practices that I just mentioned. So start with these practices. Then if you're feeling like it's still really intense for you, feel free to start seeing like a therapist or counselor, something like that. And then you can move into if there are symptoms or more intense things happening in like the brain, then you can start to meet with medical professionals that might be able to assist there. So that's kind of the walkthrough of the nervous system research that I've been doing. I think it's going to be really crucial for people to just kind of continue to grow. And I'm really excited about it, guys. I really am. And I hope that this was helpful. I love doing these practices. I've been doing pretty much every single one of those regularly now. And I really think it's helped with me feeling less anxious, more grounded, and just overall more calm. So I hope this helps you. And I'm really excited for our chat next week. So anyways, love you lots.